Cool. So I'm here to talk about the Xotic X Blender right now. This pedal has kind of turned into my staple everything. It works great on so many levels. I mean, there's so many different applications. I'm just going to kind of go over what I'm using it for here right now, and then maybe we can talk about some other things. The way I have it hooked up right now on my pedal board is in line with my Mooger Fooger low pass filter, which is basically just an envelope filter made by Moog. And really, this pedal, my Moog pedal, would not be usable to me without something like the X Blender for a couple different reasons. One, it's not true bypass. The X Blender is true bypass, so that meaning when I'm not going through it, I'm not going through it at all. You're getting no tone loss from it whatsoever. Through a pedal like a Mooger Fooger or any kind of old vintage, you know, a Mutron 3 or anything like that, you lose a lot of tonal level and just volume overall, because to go through it, I'm actually going through a gain structure to get it to use the type of filter that it uses. The other thing is that without the X Blender, my volumes would never be consistent between a pedal like this or a Mutron or anything. But with my Moog, if I turned it on without it, it's either going to be much quieter than my normal sound or much louder than my normal sound, depending on how I have it set. With the X Blender, having the EQ and volume section is so huge of being able to shape it into the sound that I want. And also, of course, the thing that makes it so unique is being able to blend your totally normal dry signal with the wet signal of the effects that you have coming. So most of the time I use it pretty much wet, and I'm using the gain structure of the X Blender with the volume and the bass and the treble and all that, just boost it a little bit to give it back up. So my normal sound volume's right about there, and when I turn this on, it's pretty close. So, you know, I have it set kind of like a synth bass. So anyways, without the X Blender, I wouldn't be able to get those even. It's not even whatsoever. Now, you know, one of the other things to do is to pull back and mix the sound a little bit. That was almost all the way wet, so that was just the sound of the pedal, but I'm also going through, like I said, it sounds a little different because I have it going through that EQ section of the X Blender. Now when I pull it back, you'll hear more of the bass sound blended with it. It's a little fatter, but it's a little more bass-like, so it just depends on what your taste is. You know, when I'm using it, I'm kind of thinking of a synth-bass sound, going for that texture, but I can definitely do that with it set all the way wet. It goes full-blown like that, but with the EQ setting, again, without it, it just kind of goes out of control. There's no warmth to it. There's you know, it's just not consistent, man. All of a sudden, you can be rocking out and turn that pedal on and blow up your whole amp, man. And with the X Blender, that's not going to happen to me. But again, the wet sound. Just an incredible pedal. I've also used it in line with like a old fuzz face kind of sound, which, you know, as you know, playing through any of those, you lose like all your low end through any kind of old vintage guitar effects. And with this, you can again EQ it to bring back all your low end, plus blend it with your normal sound so that it's not just a distortion sound. It's such a cool pedal on so many levels, man. And you know, I know so many different players using it in so many different ways. I'm amazed at how many different ways we all think of to use it, and I'm sure you will too.